Welcome back to the Coming Out Happy podcast. We are your hosts, Danny and Keely, your LGBTQ plus life coaches, and we're so glad that you're here. The Coming Out Happy podcast is here to help you reconnect with your authentic self so you can absolutely crush your love life.
And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review, and we hope you enjoy the show. Hello, everyone! Welcome to the Coming Out Happy podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Of course, it's Keely, your host, with my favorite...
Danny.
Dan?
Am I your favorite?
Yeah, you definitely are. I forget sometimes that we're dating when we're recording this podcast.
Definitely.
Mostly biz partners, right?
Sure, yeah.
We're just kidding. If you're new to this podcast, Danny and I are in a relationship. We also work together. So it's a really unique and dynamic perspective of what it's like to create a healthy relationship when you have so many layers. Come on, we're best friends, we're biz partners, and we're in a relationship. It's a lot, right? A lot to unpack there.
Definitely.
But we're super excited because we love doing this podcast. We love everything that we do with Coming Out Happy. Coming Out Happy, if you're new here, is our brand where we really help people step into their most authentic self and really create healthy relationships. Because I'll be honest, we've been there. We've absolutely been there where we've been lost, confused, stuck, and not sure where to turn. So that's why we created programs for people to step in and really feel great about who they are. But besides that, let's get into a few housekeeping things before we get into our topic for the day. I'm so glad that you're here. Every single Monday on our Instagram, at Coming Out Happy, if you're not already following us there, we go live at 3 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. EST, and we are super excited about that because we have something planned for you every single time. That way you never get bored, and we're always doing something that you can take away, use in your weekly routine. So that's on Mondays. Then on Fridays, as you're listening right now, our podcast comes out every single Friday. So you can stay connected with us all throughout the week. Especially if you're following us on Instagram. You know we post every single day. And then another thing, if you are resonating with this podcast, you want more support, you want to figure out how we can be a part of your life, really connecting with you, understanding what you're going through, and how to get you to where you want to be, just send us a DM on Instagram. You can say, "This is me." Let us know you're resonating with this podcast, and we'll chat about how we can support you. We can go from there. But let's get into our topic for the day. Let's talk about, are your old beliefs still serving you? Danny, do you think that when you think about this topic specifically, are your old beliefs still serving you?
Definitely not. And
Yeah.
I think we're all still working on shedding those old beliefs because our beliefs make us who we are. If I think I'm annoying, it's going to hold me back from speaking up. That was one that I had to shed over the last couple of years, thinking that because I tell this story a lot, when I was young, there was this guy in my class who called me annoying for speaking up or doing something. So that thought carried with me throughout my entire adulthood. And it held me back from speaking up for what I wanted. It held me back from saying things in class or to my coworkers or to my boss. I was so afraid that I was going to be seen as annoying again like I had been. And it wasn't serving me. It was holding me back from doing so many things in my life. So I would say no. Our old beliefs are not serving us anymore, and we need to figure out how to shed them.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you check in with those? You know, that's something that I've been navigating as well. I actually just had one come up a few days ago that I had to reevaluate. And that's something too. It's okay to totally reevaluate old things, old beliefs that maybe have been said to you, maybe you've been influenced by, whatever it is. And just say, hey, is this serving me in my life right now? Because I know for me, our little puppy Max is, she's moving around. She likes to sit on weird objects. So she's hopped up on this big file cabinet and she's moving around, but I think now she's found a comfortable spot. So we'll be good now. But yeah, I had to reevaluate my beliefs a couple days ago because something that happened was I just wasn't feeling it. You ever wake up and you're just like, today is going to be a drag. I don't know how I'm going to get up. I don't know how I'm going to get into the shower. All these things. You just want to lay in bed all day. That is how I felt. I was completely exhausted. We've been doing so many things, creating a lot, and my brain just feels tired. But I think this old belief that I had from, watching my parents, watching everyone around me is if you're not, up and doing something, then like you're not doing anything, you're lazy. And it made me feel really bad when I started thinking about that old belief that was like ingrained into my mind for so long. And I had to tell myself and talk myself through it that it's okay to have a later start. It's okay if you want to lay in bed for an extra 30, 45 minutes, however long you want. If you feel like you need that right now, you need to take it and you need to listen to what you need instead of what the world is telling you, or that, comparing yourself to the standards or an idea of success that maybe just doesn't fit. Does that kind of make sense, Dan?
Yeah, definitely. As you were talking, I started to realize, a lot of the beliefs that were ingrained in us happened when we were young. And that's why a lot of the people that we work with talk to us a lot about the beliefs that they had around coming out and being their authentic self. So that's something that we constantly talk a lot, and old beliefs hold us back from being our true selves, from being happy in ways that we want to be, because we're so busy listening to what others want us to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's something that hit me so hard a few days ago when I felt that, because I had to reevaluate and I had to ask myself, is this still serving me? No, I need to take a longer time this morning. I don't need to be up, ready to go, working out, showered and downstairs to work. I can take my time, and it's okay if it's not 8 o'clock, right? It's okay if it's a little bit later, or even something that, I've done recently is taking the morning to myself. And I've never done that before because I've always had it in my mind that I need to be like doing something, or I'm not doing anything. And that's such a bad belief for me because it doesn't help me. It just makes me feel bad about needing time for myself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Have you experienced something similar? I know especially with us with work, like sometimes it feels like a lot. So how do you work through that? What is your beliefs around, oh my gosh, like I just need to take some time for myself?
I think it's just about asking yourself what actually feels good to you instead of obviously it's different for us when it comes to other people because, some, and this is just, I guess, different for everybody, not just us versus anybody else, but depending on our life, depending on our circumstances, we can't always be like, okay, you know what, I want to take off work today because if you work at a job, you could get fired. But I think it's figuring out what beliefs in your life are no longer serving you and what you can fix. Because certain things we can't because we have obligations, we have responsibilities, but taking a look at what we can change to make ourselves feel better. But even before that, we need to recognize what is draining us in our life. What are the beliefs that we have around what we need to be doing, and figuring out which ones we can be shifting from there.
Yeah, no, that was so well said. I was just mentioning the belief that I've been going through and trying to let go of, but there's so many other ones that we just have to figure out what we need and what feels good to us in that way. And just really checking in with yourself, because I know that it can be depleting. It can be so exhausting to feel like you have to do everything or you have to hold this standard, when really we get to create our own rules, we get to create our own life. And if you want to change things up, let's change things up, baby. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of fun, to recreate your life and to define it based off of what feels good to you. I think when we live in other people's worlds, or we live based off of what we think we should be doing, it just creates like this prison in our mind. This hell of, oh my God, I have to do the same thing every single day. I never get to enjoy my life. And every day feels like you're half dead. That doesn't feel good. And I've been there.
Yeah. But ask yourself, what are the thoughts that are coming up in your head with things that are bothering you? Are you telling yourself that you need to be doing something that maybe doesn't actually feel aligned with you? What other questions could they be asking themselves to figure out if their old beliefs are still serving them?
Yeah, maybe you could ask yourself who it came from, who that belief came from, and if you want to continue listening to that person, or if it was a couple people or whatever it is, maybe it was from school, maybe it was from work, your boss. Is it something that you want to be listening to? How much is it affecting you? There's so many ways you could dive into that, and sometimes it's not easy to think about it, but try journaling it out. Try writing it out and really understanding where this belief's coming from and how it's affecting you. I think that's huge. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we see it show up in our lives. We're just as human, and I see myself letting go of things all the time. But I think that's why we do what we do, Danny, is because we teach tools for how to navigate when the ups and downs happen. Because ups and downs are inevitable. They will show up always in our lives. But if you know how to get through it, that's a whole different level of, experiencing, life and what it's like to just live in this way that's not for everyone else. I can't express that enough. I know I keep saying it and I hope it's not too redundant, but living for you is incredible. How do you think, maybe let me ask you this, because I kind of like asking you questions. Danny always has such wise things to say. Danny, how do you think your life has changed since you started letting go old beliefs that don't serve you?
I think the way I would describe it is just more free, more in control of my own life, and knowing that I have the power to believe anything that I want. All of our beliefs create our reality. Imagine what a different thought could do for you. What thought you have right now that could be different if you shed it. I think it feels so powerful and so incredible to know that you're in control of your thoughts. So regardless of who it came from, we can shift every thought we have into something that we want it to be. That's the most beautiful thing. Nothing is true unless we make it true.
Yeah, no, that's really powerful. Same with me. I think I'm a lot happier and free. I just feel more comfortable being myself wherever I am. And that's probably the most amazing thing. So I hope that from today you took something away, you got something out of our podcast that you can go, I'm going to start doing this in my life, and I want to see how it helps. I want to see how it starts to transform the way I think, feel, and live every single day. We want this life to be fun for you. We want you to enjoy it and really love who you are. And that's our goal here. So if you love this podcast, send us a message on Instagram @ComingOutHappy. I want to hear what you resonated with, what you're going to start doing. Let's hear it. We love getting those messages. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review or rating. We love when you do that. And again, we'll see you next week. We'll see you next week. Every single week, we're here with you. Come on over to our Instagram @ComingOutHappy and stay up to date. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and we'll see you all so soon.